All right, Tyler, so the last time I saw Darkest Dungeon, PAX East, back in March, I guess it was.
April, something like that.
I don't know, it seems like a long time ago.
Many months ago.
Yeah, but, so you're here at PAX Prime. What's changed since that build?
Cool, all kinds of stuff. One thing we're really excited about is we've got 4 new heroes in the build. So this is for the first time people are able to try out actually assembling a party, which has always been a really big part of the game. Like we're eventually going to have 16 plus heroes, and it's not just what you're doing, fighting throughout, but how you assemble the party. So we've got new heroes, a new dungeon environment, the Weald, which is like this corrupted poison wood full of all these weird creatures. If you remember previously, we had the Ruins, which is full of skeletons. We've still got that. We've got a boss in here, which is pretty cool, and lots of new content within, lots of graphical upgrades, effects, animations, parallax scrolling, and then a little bit of town we're going to show you as well.
All right. And this is the final set of classes. Are you calling them classes you guys are going to have in the game, or okay?
Well, these are 8 of the final 16. So we'll probably, when we launch early access, there will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to start, and then we'll be dropping new classes in the whole throughout that, which should be really fun too, because every new class you drop in, all of a sudden you can reconsider your entire party lineups and things.
Great.
All right, so yeah, let's go to the Weald, which will be cool. One neat thing about Darkest Dungeon is you provision before each quest. The game is XCOM-like in structure in that you maintain a roster of heroes, put them together for a mission effectively, and then send them on that, come back to town. So yeah, it's, choose a room to navigate. One thing we've got that's actually new since PAX East is you actually control your guys now, which is much more interesting, I think. As you notice there's a little bit of a curio, we call it. You can use the A key to back up, and you can select who you want to interact with that and go investigating. So in this case, something good popped up. Over the course of play, you start learning what the different curios can provide. And one interesting feature, it didn't apply to that one there, but the inventory items can actually interact with curios. So for example, if you put holy water on the pile of bones, it may cleanse it. And that's something you can find out through experimentation and kind of like raise your level of play as you accumulate knowledge. That was an important part of old like roguelikes and things, and we wanted to bring that into play.
So, if someone hasn't seen the game before, you guys have health bars and stress bars, sort of like a measurement of anxiety.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the, I guess, unique features of Darkest Dungeon is you're managing your hero's mental health as well as their physical health. So you want to keep your health high and your stress low. And if that stress bar ever fills, then they have a chance of becoming afflicted with, paranoia, irrationality, selfishness, and then those have gameplay ramifications. One of the neat things is that stress is persistent, so when you get back from,
whoops, so I probably shouldn't have selected her to...
Right.
Oh boy.
So now she's gotten really stressed out, and this is materialized as fear. I would do your probably main skill there to try to see, yes, there we go. He's a stone cold killer, that guy. But that's where the class differences come in. Like the Hellion actually has a pretty valuable skill, which is called Iron Swan, where her glaive, she can reach all the way to the 4th rank. And that's really valuable for hitting like artillery, or the bad guys in the back that are doing horrible things to you.
So talk to me a little bit about character progression, like as we go into what looks like a pretty intimidating battle here. Am I going to be getting entirely separate skills to swap in and out? Or are they sort of like the 4 skills are tied to each class and they're kind of locked in?
So each skill each class, has 7 skills that they can learn, and then each of those skills can be upgraded through like 5 ranks. So what you do is, and we'll show you in town, you can train them up in those skills, and then before each quest, you would choose which of the 4 to take. So, for example, if you're a plague doctor going into the wood, you might take more of the poison negation skills. So there's an element of speccing.
I think right there we saw an enemy ability where one of our characters pulled forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah, the cultists summoned an eldritch tentacle to knock you around. So these ones are particularly nasty because the 2 cultists in back mess with your turn order or party order, and then the guys in front just pulling the cultist forward and then going to work on him. Nice. Well, you killed her outright, which was useful, but that's actually a great strategy because she can only do some of those attacks from the back. So if you can yank them forward, then she's stuck in front, more or less useless. So you can use the same tricks on them that they use on you, basically.
Great. So can you talk to me a little bit about the difficulty settings you guys are going to have? Is there a softer version of permadeath, or that's like you're sticking that across the game in your design?
At this moment, yes, it's sort of integral to the design. Normally, actually, I like games with permissive saves, but Darkest Dungeon is all about, like, the consequences are really integral to the entire design. And so we actually, we should probably camp here actually. Always being on the verge of things happening is that we want you feeling that basically. And however, we do have a system called fate points. So occasionally you're going to be able to bring people back. It's not a panacea where every time someone dies you can just bring it back. But a few, like your most treasured characters, you'll be able to bring back. Although they may have a new quirk, like you notice there, these are their quirks. Every character develops good and bad little things that affect their gameplay. Yeah, using firewood. So here, if you remember, the first thing you do is choose how much you want to eat, and this is impacted by how many provisions. You bought extra provisions, so you probably could go ahead and have a nice full meal, which health and stress improves both of them. Yeah. Now you've got 10 time points, time units to use, and those are shared. So each skill that a hero has a time cost, and so these are like the combat skills. They're unique to the heroes. A few are shared, but the neat thing is some heroes have quite valuable camping abilities. Well, you're not in terrible shape.
Could be worse.
Yeah, it could be much worse. So now your fearful character has, what's that? I think there's monsters, and now everybody else is getting stressed because that.
So we got an opportunity here to adjust our order.
Actually, if you go back to the room, great point. You can't change order in the hallways. They're assumed to be very cramped. And so a mechanic that's not in yet, but is coming, is whoever leads the party down the hallway, you get a certain benefit. So, for example, the Grave Robber can disarm traps. The Hellion has more chance to surprise. And so you'll actually be choosing who you want to walk down the hall with. But the downside is, when you enter combat, that's the order you start in. All right, so here's a look at one of our bosses. So this is the Necromancer you've come in search of. Nice, you're actually in pretty good shape, although everyone's pretty stressed out, I will say. But I think your buffs are going to carry the day. Oh, this is kind of a fun skill you may want to see. The Abyssal Artillery, just for the fact of the effects. So he's summoning this weird occult or eldritch monster to come down and slap people around. Nice. It's working.
Yeah, so that buff we did in camp is really helping out, I think.
Yes. No, that's big. And then, that pre-preparation, it definitely would not be going as easily. All right.
Let's see if we can mop up here.
Yeah, you're pretty much in the clear now, barring some sort of freakish event.
Of which there are many in this game.
Last I'll show you is the guild, which is pretty cool. If you load a hero in there, you'll see these are the combat skills. So this is really like, a very important part of the game.
Training, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll upgrade a little just to show how it works. Exactly. And so you notice the 4 skills that you're used to using. Like he has 3 other skills that you can purchase. And then before each quest, you would outfit those skills that you want to bring. So if you see that with a number of classes, a number of skills, strategizing how to build an interesting party, we want it to be a really fun part of the game. The Highwayman could be spec'd to be up front with point blank shot and the stab, or he could be full back with all the ranged attacks. So each class has a little bit of different ways they can go. Or the Crusader, click this guy there, and then Lincoln. Lincoln has a bunch of off-heal abilities. So if you wanted to, or the Crusader, excuse me, so you could outfit him as your off-heal. Maybe you don't bring a Vestal because you're relying on this guy to do your little bit of healing for you.
Cool. Thanks for walking me through it, Tyler.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Great.
Yeah.
So Chris, I just got done playing your latest build, Darkest Dungeon here at PAX. One of the things we like about it is just the really gritty art style. It's not like high fantasy at all. So can you talk to me about where that came from, your inspiration for that kind of fantasy versus another kind?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the game is all about stress and stress management, and so we wanted an art style that reinforced that everyone's kind of got a little bit of dirt under their fingernails. I've been a concept artist for a long time, and digital painting is kind of the hotness. And so I just wanted to try on my own project something a little bit more true to my roots. Like I grew up reading comics and big Mike Mignola, Guy Davis, Victor Kalvachev kind of fan. Those big aggressive blacks are really fun to work with, and they just kind of suit the dark tone of the game overall.
So talk to me a little bit about the progression of the campaign itself. You've got this overworld map in the town where I'm managing the metagame of my characters and upgrading abilities and buying stuff. But am I going one stage at a time? Do I get to pick which stage I want to go to next? Is there like an end stage with an end boss that's like signifies the end of the game?
Sure. So I mean, essentially, it's kind of like an XCOM meets Dark Souls setup. You've inherited this tract of land from your ancestor, who writes you a very nice letter and then shoots himself in the head. And so it's your job, sort of sins of the father, to kind of reclaim your estate from all this like occultism that's descended on it because of what he did. So throughout the game, it's a procedural game, but we have some set piece missions that sort of fill out the story. Your goal is to toughen up your band of mercenaries, your heroes, recruit new ones, keep them in fighting shape, and eventually get them ready to make an assault on the darkest dungeon, which is sort of the source of everything. You can go there anytime. Everybody knows where the portal to hell, it's like it's over there. But if your guys aren't ready for it, they will go, absolutely insane the first monster they see. Yeah. So it's about, we're trying to tempt the player a little bit to jump the gun, but patience is rewarded. And so you're basically, trying to purify your estate and redeem your family name. But there's a few little twists and turns. We don't have a heavy narrative, but I'm pretty proud of what we're going to do. I think it'll be kind of interesting and entertaining. And we have a narrator who's actually the disembodied voice of your ancestor, who kind of helps you along and feeds you sort of backstory and information like that.
Great. So how much longer are we going to have to wait to play Darkest Dungeon?
Well, we're going to ship, I would say, conservatively mid next year. That's a very realistic, estimate. We're going to do early access before then, but we're not going to firm up a date because early access can be kind of hit and miss, and we don't want to be a miss. We want to provide a really great first experience for, our Kickstarter backers and anyone who wants to pick up early access on the game. We want to make sure it's fleshed out and enjoy early access by trickling out new content and features as opposed to fixing broken stuff, right?
Yeah, sounds like a good approach. So thanks for catching us up on Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Of course. So finally we got our laptop that we're having everybody we talk to at PAX
So awesome.
You're an art person, you're an art director on the project, so
okay.
high expectations for your signature, but no pressure.
And this is not my laptop, right? I can't.
Well, I'm afraid not.